Welcome to The Real Heal, a show featuring real, raw, and authentic conversations between experts in the holistic health space. I am your host, Dr. Renee Wallenstein, also known as the libidoologist, double board certified doc, entrepreneur, as well as healthcare disruptor. So if you're ready, let's get into it. I am so excited to finally have the one and only Dr. Laura Koniver on the show. And funny story, I actually found Dr. Laura on Instagram and I sent her a message probably a year ago. I may have begged and pleaded that she come on the show. And I think I had a comment under one of your videos in order to, I'm like, see me. And you finally saw me and returned my message, but you are here today. So I am so grateful that you are here.
Thank you.
And yeah, so I mean, I've kind of highlighted on my Instagram for those that follow my Instagram that you are coming up and on, and here you are. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got doing what you're doing today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And sorry, I am such a dunce on social media. So it did take a while. It's because the comments can be overwhelming, don't you think? So like I don't even check, but anyway, so I'm glad to be here. I really appreciate it. And I just got drawn into holistic medicine and kind of left conventional medicine because it was disappointing to me after becoming a mom. And I just like my daughter was really uncomfortable with colic and she cried 24/7. I got zero sleep. And the first thing I did was run to the pediatrician, of course. And I don't know, they tried to put her on like 3 prescription medications when she was like 2 days old. I mean, it was just, and then also said, just cry it out, stick her in a crib and leave. And I don't know, the whole thing just didn't feel right to me. So at that point, I kind of started being like, because, this probably happened to you too, because you're a mom, but like, I was pretty good at cranking patients through and just thinking kind of clinically about them. But then I became a mom and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's someone's baby. Like that's it. So I don't know. Once I had my own child and I could see like all my patients were somebody's baby, even if they're like, 85. I just didn't want to crank them through anymore. So I just didn't like it. And I didn't want to just medicate crap so much. And I don't know. So so that just, I became much more attracted to like holistic medicine where I spent a little bit more time and see more of the patient than the insurance game lets you do.
So you're conventionally trained in what field?
Yeah, I'm a general practitioner.
General practitioner.
I went to Jefferson in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think seeing a physician, MD trained, talking about grounding online, it's like, I know you stopped my scroll. I'm like, whoa, like there's a smart woman.
It's a slight risk. Yeah. You get love
yeah,
and hate.
Yeah. Like literally you're brilliant because you have all the education, but like you are also brilliant to know the power of the earth. And we're going to get into that a little bit because I've never done an episode on grounding, although I am slightly obsessed with it and the power of grounding. And, I think sometimes like we don't know enough about it. So like, we're like, it's a foreign term. Like, what is this grounding thing? Like, we don't know, we run the other way, even though it's something really easy that we can all do. So just explain to us, like, what is grounding? Like, what is it?
So at first it's going to sound like you said, people probably be resistant to it. But then once you take 2 minutes to let the pieces kind of click into place, it becomes kind of, why is this not common sense? Grounding is literally touching the earth directly in some way to connect your body to the earth. And the reason that works is because the earth pulses out with a direct current, DC energy. So we're not talking about fake man-made energy like, for the light bulb. We're talking about how the entire universe runs off of DC energy, as does our natural body, as our heartbeat and our brain's thinking and our muscles contracting and every single thing. We are not alive in a living body if there is not electrical impulses flowing, and it's all DC energy. So when we're removed and we have shoes on, or we're inside, or we're in a car up off on tires, obviously there's no physical contact. So the Earth's global electrical grid, which sounds again maybe a little woo-woo, but it's this pulsing out of this electrical DC heartbeat of the Earth. When we're not touching it, we're not conductively part of this natural entire global electrical circuit. But so just think about it this way: everybody knows to plug your cell phone in. You don't use your cell phone once and then chuck it. Like that, what the heck? No, we know every night we're going to dock it. We're going to resync it up back to full battery power, but we don't run on AC energy like that. We run on DC energy, and our battery pack is the earth. And so when we're inside, or we're in cars, or we're, not touching the earth directly at all, we're just not plugged in. That's all there is to it. So it's literally just a matter of tanking back up with the natural source of energy, which we can survive on our own in a little insulated body for a long time. But as you know, as a physician, then things stop working optimally.
Yeah. And I wonder how many people just don't connect their poor health
Yeah.
with not touching the
All
earth.
of us, because I didn't.
All of us.
I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't. We made it through medical school. I didn't even think of it
Mhm.
once. And it's
Mhm.
ridiculous because in medical school, we are learning in all of our different, physiology classes, exactly how the body electrically works, right? Like, and we use the EEG to see if someone's had, if they're having seizure activity or sleep studies, or we use a EKG to see if someone had a heart attack or if their heart rate variability is healthy, or, muscle contractions with an EMG. I mean, we're learning to like use the conductivity of the body to see if something's wrong
Yeah.
without ever one person saying, well, if that's how our body functions, maybe there's a way to actually make that optimized before something goes wrong.
Absolutely. And I love your analogy of just plugging yourself into the earth. Like
Yeah,
literally just
for
get
sure.
yourself a plug.
Yeah,
It could
because
be
it's
your
so
hand.
stupid. We take care of our electronics that don't have souls and don't have live. They're not alive, and we take care of them like they rule us. Like we'll plug them in every night. Where's my charge cord? You don't leave a
Yeah.
trip without knowing where your charge cord is. Sitting everywhere you see, the outlet so you can replug. I mean, we're making sure all of our electronics are constantly, part of a circuit where they're being infused with energy. And then we're sitting there feeling like crap and we can't sleep at night and we don't know day from night and we have pain and inflammation but we're making sure our cell phone's plugged in every night. So
Yeah. Isn't
it's
that
just funny.
bizarre? I,
Yeah.
now again, everyone's gonna come away from this episode like with, if they come away with nothing more, it's just like, did I plug myself in today?
Right.
Like,
And even it's so crazy because our building codes are we have to ground our, electrical systems so that they don't because any electrical system, if it's not discharging static electricity, it can go awry. It
yeah,
goes defunct. So our homes you have to ground your hot water heater for its, longevity. You have to ground your dryer, your washing machine and dryer. We ground our refrigerator. They all have ground plugs because electrical
yeah.
circuits need that to be healthy and maintain optimized function. But so we like have codes that make us ground our homes, but not us. It's
It's
weird.
yeah, it's weird. I mean, and that's the thing when you give us this moment of like stopping and we're like just think about it.
What?
And you're like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's so bizarre. Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
So as we were saying before I hit record, like I've been binging on your YouTube channel, and I mean, there is just a wealth of information there. And I was saying, I don't care how old the video is, like
Yeah.
you are just like your
Thank you.
content is, and it's great because it brings it down. But just if you could touch on the Schumann resonance and the Carnegie curve. And here we go
Mhm.
again. Like I'm going to say
Yeah.
those words and the listeners are going to shut down because like, okay,
Right.
here they go. They're talking science. But like,
You're right.
I think this is really cool when you
Yeah.
talk about this, and we don't have to go into the study of the bunkers because they can listen to the YouTube for that. But
Sure.
like,
Okay.
just, I mean, or we can, it's what up to you. But I just thought it's just really intriguing how the earth really sets our, our cycles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's true. And there's two ways it does it. So like I said, I just called it a global electrical circuit to be um I don't just have one catchphrase, but it's two elements. One is there's a heartbeat, an electrical heartbeat from the earth, and it's the Schumann frequency. And it's really interesting. We really started figuring this out a long time ago, sending people to space. And I interviewed two different astronauts, Charlie Duke and Edgar Mitchell, and they both described being away from that pulsing heartbeat. It first of all, it causes a lot of health issues. That's why they have to approximate it on spaceships. They have to have a Schumann frequency resonator so that their bones don't lose density, so that their organs function well, because our bodies don't know what it's like to not be in that field on Earth. And they said the craving to return to the planet, they were on the moon looking at 220,000 miles away, our little ball of life. Oh my gosh, they wanted to come back. So it's just like it's in every cell. So that is what we're used to, is this Schumann frequency that pulses out every minute of every day. So that's why there's always healing energy anytime, day or night, that you can touch. But then there's also something where it does impact our circadian rhythm, because it's called the Carnegie curve. And they discovered this back in like 1920. They had a big vessel, a big ship that went around and recorded it on different places on the earth. And what they realized is it doesn't matter where you are on the earth. So it doesn't matter what time zone you're in. There is a 24-hour rhythm that is synced to that part of the earth. So
mm,
that's why grounding was one of the first applications, was for jet lag, because when you travel somewhere else, if you sync yourself up to the earth there, that Carnegie curve informs your body, is it day or night? Because it has a cyclical peak at 7 p.m. and it's the lowest at 3 a.m. And it doesn't matter where you go on earth, touching the earth informs your body day or night. So which is why even if you go outside and get sunlight on your face, you might realize that you're not sleeping very well at night, or have or like the artificial light. It's people think of light, but it's actually the earth as well, this Carnegie curve. And not only is it a 24-hour rhythm that really informs our body, okay, it's time to go to bed, okay, it's time to wake up, but it's seasonal too. So it's elliptical. So it's every day, but it's also seasonal around the year. So it doesn't matter where you are, again, it's going to inform your body if it's fall, winter, spring, or summer. So it really gets you in that pattern of hibernating. It just, if you're working in an office and you have fluorescent lights and you're stressed out and you're not sleeping and you can't tell day from night and you just feel really off and you don't know why and you've tried everything else, one of the reasons why, if you realize that you haven't been touching the earth, is that you haven't let your body be naturally informed. It probably doesn't even know what season it is anymore. We're in air conditioning, we're, got bundled up, and we don't even know day from night anymore because we got the blue light on our screens. So if you feel like you're really out of touch, those are the two ways the earth can just, like that, like a light. You know how electricity works, it's instant. So when you turn on a light, you get light. When you touch one finger to the earth, you're grounded. And you get that information from those two different ways electrically, with nothing to do with your thinking, thought, or education. I mean, it's like in your cells, it's the way your body functions.
Just forgive me, because Dr. Laura's looking at me and my mouth opens like, oh my God, like, it's just so amazing. And okay, a little spoiler alert, when she was talking about the bunkers, like they essentially put people in two different bunkers.
Yes.
Like, and one was shielded to these frequencies and the other wasn't. And even despite being underground in a bunker, those that weren't shielded basically could determine still the seasons and the day night. Is that correct?
Right. Okay. Right. So there was two bunkers, one just shielded from the sun and one shielded from the earth and the sun. So, and most people would think, well, if I don't know night from day because I'm not getting sun exposure, I'm going to be all desynchronized, but they didn't. It was rough. I mean, some might be a 20-hour day, might be a 25-hour day, but it was for 2 months they lived like that and they maintained their own basic rhythm. And the ones that were shielded from the earth, every single case of someone being desynchronized and not knowing day from night and, like, I don't know, wanting to go to bed after 4 hours only of being awake, was in the one that was shielded from the earth. And then, even more impressively, as if that wasn't enough, they did this for 2 months straight with these test participants. So every single case where they were desynchronized, it was because they were shielded from the earth. And then they reintroduced, using the thing we talked about with the astronauts, the Schumann frequency generator, and they reintroduced, still in that shielded thing, but then they reintroduced the earth's energy. And when they hit the frequencies that the earth resonates with, the Schumann frequency, those rhythms were restored. So it's 1,000%. I'm not saying that the sun has nothing to do with it. Of course it does, but 1,000%. I would probably rather be grounded and just be in darkness than completely for my entire life, never touch the earth and never be part of that, because I really do feel like the earth informs us even more than the sun. And it makes sense, because like that's how we evolutionarily, like that's how, we developed on this earth to be in contact with this earth. So obviously it informs our system from head to toe.
Yeah, and I apologize. I said we weren't going to talk about the bunkers, but then I thought
No,
it was
it's
such
good,
a cool.
but it is, because everyone thinks it's the sun, and the sun. I mean, for sure, like there's medical studies that show time in the sun increases longevity and vitamin D and all that. There's a lot of positive benefits of everything in nature. Just seeing trees, just in emergency rooms they did, or in the ICU they did a study showing just being able to see a tree through a window decreased pain meds and quicker discharge from surgery. So it's like we are tuned to be in nature. So even if it's just sun, or even if it's just seeing a potted plant, I mean, there's benefit for all that. But I don't think anything is as powerful as the direct electrical contact.
Yeah, I love that. It's so powerful. And I just thought just the concept and again, the experimental side of it, of like taking people out of these, what we take for granted every single day, like, and unknowingly deprive our bodies of every single day by, like you said, being in these offices with the fluorescent lights, air conditioned, blinds down, dark, no windows, it's like,
no, there's no head and tails. Yeah. It's hard. It's like survival. It's hard to survive in these it's all fake and artificial, which is fine. I mean, I have it too. And I have 2 kids in college, and Lord knows.
Yeah. Well,
the whole environment's artificial, but so we have to have something that recenters us. And if you can, just get recentered, even if it's just a few minutes a day to the earth, I feel like that's just a natural docking. Come back. Just keep coming back. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So how do we, and I know you have a book, which we're going to talk a little bit about, and you probably get a lot of examples, but like, so for instance, like in our houses every day, so I don't work in an office, I'm in my house, but how, if I'm walking around in shoes, not in my house, of course, but I'm in my house, go outside, walking around in shoes. I live in a colder climate where we've had snow, like I love to take my shoes off, but obviously when not right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
How do I ground myself?
Um, I have so many examples. Let me weed them down. Do you want examples for in your house or for being outside when it's
Let's
cold?
do both.
Okay.
So I think so in the house, like I think
Okay.
this pertains to a lot of people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
for sure. So inside your house, like we already talked about, you all of your major appliances, including your plumbing and your water tank, is all grounded. It has to be by code.
yep.
So actually your stream of water that's coming out of your sink is grounded. So when you're washing dishes, I hate washing dishes, but boy, I feel better afterwards every time. And it's because when your hands are under that water, you're grounded. Or taking a bath. That's my favorite way to ground before bed. You know, I put magnesium salts in there and the whole time you're grounded, the plumbing is grounded, the water is grounded. So when you're washing your hands real quick, you're getting a little grounding boost. So indoors, you can do it easily that way. And most people in their home or I lived in an apartment in Philadelphia and the basement, you know, is a cement slab. And those are typically almost always grounded because if it's a cement slab on the earth, it's grounded. So now I have a home, but my garage is grounded. So sometimes I'll go out and I have a little space heater out there and a comfy chair and I'll take my laptop out and I'll have my feet on the garage floor, which is grounded. So there's a lot of ways without even buying anything, you can get grounded even inside. So your plumbing and any cement slabs you have. But then there's indoor grounding tools because it just is inconvenient to be outside. And not everyone has access to a safe green space and like with the weather and all that stuff too. And for safety as being women, like I don't recommend some woman go stand outside by herself if it's like 10 p.m. at night. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of reasons why. And then also for longevity, like even if I go outside and touch the earth for a few minutes, but if I have a cold and I want to be grounded for hours, or if I have insomnia and I really want to sync my body up all night long. So there is a role for indoor grounding tools too. And like I said, your home's wiring is grounded. So using the grounded port of your outlet will ground then anything conductive. So there's special ground cords that run from your outlet to whatever product you want to use, like a grounding bed pad or a grounding mat. And then that mat or bed pad is also conductive. So the minute you touch it, you're grounded. And anyway, so those are indoor examples.
Yeah. And I know you have some products as well. Some
Yeah.
really eco-friendly
Yes.
products
Yeah.
that I've been perusing your site because I have a grounding blanket, I have a mat, both of which I have noticed significant improvements
Yeah. Yeah.
in my I have back issues. So in my overall
Yeah.
pain and inflammation, it
Mhm.
just definitely like it's pretty drastic in one
Mhm.
night. Like you can notice
Yeah.
a
That's
difference. And
why. Yeah.
yeah.
Because grounding outside, most people can't do that for hours. But ideally, I don't think that we ever lose contact with the earth. I mean, I don't feel like it's actually unnatural, obviously, for us to be disconnected from the earth and to have shoes on and like all these things we've invented, which is great. But yeah, so if you want to be grounded longer than just the few minutes that most people can be outside, it definitely, and for talking about decreasing inflammation, talking about decreasing pain and talking about sleeping deeper, you kind of do need to be grounded for hours and hours and hours to get those results. There's immediate results the second you touch the earth. Like you can feel your muscle tension release. They've shown on EMGs that your muscle tension immediately, and your brain actually immediately goes into alpha brainwave patterns. So it really calms and centers you. So there's some immediate changes, and then there's some semi-immediate, like after a couple minutes, but long-term changes where your C-reactive protein's going down, your pain is noticeably different, your cortisol is going down, your hormones are stabilizing, those kind of things. Yeah, you'd want to be sleeping grounded all night long. So that's awesome that you do that. And I did notice that most of the offerings on, available for grounding in bed are just super not eco-friendly. They're like mostly plastic. So I do have hand sewn organic sleeping pads and bed mats and stuff like that made because there just really wasn't that available. I couldn't find any.
Yeah, I love that. And so we're talking before recording, and I said I have my Christmas list already started for myself and my children
Yeah.
from your site.
Thank you.
So outside again, like I'm gonna, probably take a walk this afternoon with my
Mhm.
dog, like I did this morning. I have my boots on, my
Mhm.
gloves, all the things because it's 30 degrees here.
Yeah.
How do I ground if I, twice a
Yeah.
day and it's chilly out?
Yeah. So, and even honestly, to be totally disclosed, I don't even like necessarily going barefoot that much, and even in the summer because it's hot or there's fire ants or I'm in the city and there could be shards of glass. So I almost always just think hands because for some reason right now the grounding movement is equated grounding with barefoot, and that's so not true. Our entire body is conductive. Your bottom of your foot is not more conductive than the palm of your hand or your facial skin or anything. If you're sitting on a rock and your leg is touching the rock, you're grounded just through your leg. So
Yeah.
it really can be any part of your body. So in the winter, for sure, I like to stay bundled up. I have like 3 pairs of socks. I hate being cold so, so, so much. So think hands. So touching a tree, pine needles, even in the winter, pine needles are grounded, leaves, if there is any left out there, branches. Because it's the same concept of why a blade of grass will ground you. That's just a plant growing out of the ground. So any plant growing out of the ground, I have patients who have they're on 2nd-story balconies and they have a tree that goes up that high, and you can be up off the earth so high and just touch a leaf and be grounded. But so
Oh,
hands, and then I just did a recent TikTok showing how to ground in a city. Almost everything is grounded, like sidewalks, cement is grounded, brick is grounded, pavers are grounded. So in a city, every metal pole that's anchored in the ground in the cement, even the sidewalk, you know how you push the metal button to
yep.
go across the sidewalk? I tested that with a ground test meter. It's all grounded. So you can touch a flagpole, anything metal, anything living out of the earth, and any semiconductor like cement, sidewalks, and rocks will all ground you. And then even beyond that, and I'm sorry if this answer is kind of long, because even beyond that, if you don't want to expose any skin at all, I have grounding gloves. So they're conductive, so you can keep your hands even covered and still touch through a glove. I make grounding hiking sticks. So you can be grounded through your hand and you don't have to touch any dang thing because the hiking stick will do it because it's got a conductive tape on it that goes down to the ground. So there's a lot of, you can put grounding stickers on your shoes. I don't know if you know that, but and it goes from the bottom of your shoe up and then into your shoe. So it bypasses the sole of your shoe altogether. So, the shoes that you wear right now could be grounded if you put a grounding sticker on it. So there's just lots of ways now.
You're so cool. I love that you did all these products. And I was going to say, like, I have Raynaud's. So
Same. I was going to say that. I was going to say I hate being cold so much because my finger. I mean, I feel like I've almost had to amputate my feet 100 times.
Exactly. And that's why, like, I don't, like, I even get cold in my house and my Raynaud's kicks in, but,
Yeah.
like outside especially. So like, I'm
Isn't it
really
ridiculous? Like you can be
ridiculous.
inside and it's 70 degrees in your home, and then you look at the bottom of your foot and it's all like white and patchy and clamped off because I hate
Yeah.
being cold so much.
Yeah, me too. So that's why I was thinking like, oh, how do I like touch a tree in the leaf if I have my
Yeah.
gloves on? But I'm going to
Yeah.
get a pair of your gloves because,
Yeah.
I don't like to be cold, but then I
Yeah.
do want to
Same.
get the benefits. I want to get all of the benefits of being outside,
Right.
and I generally
Yeah.
take at least a half hour morning and afternoon walk. So at least an hour outside,
That's awesome.
a day, but I want to
Good.
get, maximize my benefits of being outside. And,
Yeah.
it does make me feel, even though it's cold, it makes me feel so much better.
Hmm. Yeah.
So you touched on some of the benefits, pain, inflammation, um, sleep, right? But what other benefits are there? And I know included in there is potentially helps with metabolism and or weight
Hmm.
loss. So can you
Hmm.
just touch on some of the benefits of why someone
Sure.
might want to go out and get their, ground themselves or in the
Hmm.
house, pay
For
attention to
sure.
grounding?
So there are lots of layers of benefits depending on how long you do it. So there's lots of reasons why you'd want to do it. So immediately your muscle tension and your brain kind of starts to relax. And so and then also you get out of that fight and flight, your parasympathetic nervous system puts you in rest and digest. So immediate reasons that you could literally walk out the door and within seconds feel relief is if you're nauseous, you have heartburn, you're bloated, you're getting a tension headache, anything to do with muscle pain, fibromyalgia, that kind of thing, or you're grumpy, you're stressed, you're frazzled, and you want your brain to basically go into that alpha brainwave pattern, which is the state of meditation. Prolonged meditation
Mhm.
does the same thing, and deep states of sleep do the same thing. So it's just very calming and centering. So if you're having a panic attack or you're feeling down, so those are all immediate benefits. But then the minute you become ungrounded, they'll reverse. So I do get grounded acutely all the time. Like if I just don't feel good or I'm a little bit nauseous, I'll go ground. But then over time, your circulation, basically all of your organ systems start optimizing. So your circulation gets better, your blood pressure comes down, your blood sugars stabilize, your metabolism gets a boost, and then it goes on and on and on. And when you then just start doing this as a routine for hours daily, then your day night pattern is improved and your sleep is improved. So there's a lot of benefits. But as a physician, what I was thinking is, and this hadn't been looked at yet, well, if everything starts, working more optimal and my basal metabolic rate is improved, and it actually also helps boost thyroid. And almost everyone's like hypothyroid these days.
Mm,
Um, because of inflammation, that whole gut
mhm.
chain reaction. And everyone's got autoimmune, just on the edge of an autoimmune condition, I feel
Yep.
like, because we're all just so pro-inflammatory. So I thought, if that's true, and I know it's true, there's 30 years of medical studies showing all these different things. But what I want to see does that help boost weight loss? Like if my metabolism at rest is burning more calories, shouldn't have to do anything else. and my body should optimize and I should be able to lose weight if I need to, right? So it was a very small study, very informal. I did not publish the results. It was that informal. It was just me looking at, honestly wanting to know with my patients. So I followed 12 people, and for 10 weeks straight, just weekly weigh-ins and, mood assessment and a couple other different parameters, sleep, that kind of thing. And the majority of my patients lost about a pound a week. So some people lost up to, in that 10 weeks, up to 15 pounds, and some people only lost like 4. So, but the general, if you put it all in a blender and get the average, it was about a pound a week, and
Wow.
no extra exercise. No, I said, do not change a thing you eat. Don't increase your activity level. All I want you to do, and this was results of just 15 minutes a day. So what you can get just walking your dog. It wasn't
Wow.
like they slept grounded. It was just 15. I said 15 minutes. You just have to give me that. You can do more if you want to, but at least that. And
Wow.
majority of people just started losing weight because their body optimized. So it functions better, and it also burns calories more. And they were sleeping deeper. And there's a huge association between poor sleep and weight gain. Not just that you can't lose weight. If someone can't lose weight, I always ask about their sleep, because it's not just that you can't lose weight, it's that you gain weight when you don't
Yeah.
sleep well. Your food choices and your metabolism, everything changes. So
Correct.
anyway, so even if it was just because they started sleeping a little bit better, I can't say 100% for each person why, but their thyroid probably got a little boost. All of their organ systems function better. So at rest, they were burning more calories, and they probably started sleeping. Well, they definitely started sleeping better. And for all those reasons, with no change to diet and exercise, they started losing weight and maintained that weight loss for weeks.
That's incredible.
So it was really
And
exciting.
you think like just intuitively, like I know every time I go outside, no matter what's going on in my life, I feel so much less stressed when I get done with my
Yes.
walk.
Yeah, I know. And then don't you feel like you could probably not have to eat the Snickers bar if you,
Yeah.
because you feel low, you don't need that
Yep.
boost, you're not desperate. It's just, it removes that feeling of needing to feel desperate to feel okay, because
Yeah.
you do feel okay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so it does not surprise me. And how much does stress play into our inability to lose weight or gain weight too? Like it's
Sure.
just this like vicious cycle that we are all in nowadays of like not sleeping and stressed and like thinking all these negative thoughts, and we're not getting outside. It's like
Yeah.
the perfect storm
It's like,
for
yeah, because everyone needs some coping mechanisms to make it through life. Life is so stinking stressful.
yeah,
And without the earth to center you, then you start reaching for all these different coping mechanisms. It could be food for someone, or alcohol for
yep,
someone, or just
yep,
whatever, getting anxious or depressed or whatever it is, and shopping, retail therapy, all that
yeah,
stuff, because we just need to make it through another 24 hours. That's how it
yeah.
feels. If you're not synced to the earth and you don't feel centered, you just start thinking, what can I do? Just a quick grab. And
Quick fix.
I think the quick grab urge kind of melts away when you start feeling a little bit more centered and supported, and you don't need a vice quite as much. So it just all plays together.
And I have to say, your quick fix should just be getting outside. Like sometimes it's not hard. Just open the door
Yeah.
and step
Yeah,
outside.
for
Like
sure.
maybe it's literally taking that 5, 10, 15 minutes to
Yeah,
take
it's
a
sometimes
break.
it's 3 deep breaths. Like if I realize if I'm going to bed and I did not touch the earth at all, I will go outside and just look up at the moon. And usually I hold a leaf, because I have like a blanket around me and I hate being cold, so I'm holding a leaf, and 3 breaths. If that's all I do in a day, then I'm happy with that. 3 long, slow, deep breaths, and that you will feel recentered. If people are listening to this right now, they could just do it while they're listening to this right now, and they will feel a difference.
Yeah, I
Just
totally
that
am.
quick.
Yep, I'm right there with you. So, and part of it's also about awareness, right? Just like pausing enough to know that, like, oh, I'm feeling this, and just taking
Yeah.
action and doing something like you said, just walk outside, take 3
Yeah.
deep breaths, and then go back inside. That's all it
Yeah.
takes. So, let's just now this could be a whole podcast episode in and of itself, but let's just touch on man-made EMFs
Okay. Yeah.
as I'm sitting here with my phone next to me and my
Yeah.
computer
No, I know, but it's
and all the
reality.
things
Yeah.
around
No,
us, right?
same. Right. Absolutely.
And, I feel like, you're very, and I think part of me wanted to talk about this because you did a fantastic YouTube video, which I'm in the middle of, and I just sent it to my husband on what was it called? 20, I'm going to say the whole title because I want people to go find it. Where is it? It's like 20 things you can do for your teens to
Oh,
help
yeah.
them
Yeah.
with EMF exposure. Oh,
Yeah.
20 ways to protect your teen from EMF exposures.
Yeah.
Write that down right now and then finish listening to this episode and then go watch it with
Yeah.
Dr. Laura Koniver. But I sent it to my husband because I was like, this is brilliant. And what I love about you, and we're going to get into the EMFs, but I have a lot of mamas out there
Mhm.
with, and I don't think it matters. Like I have teenagers, yours are just left the nest,
Mhm.
so finishing up their teen years, early
Mhm.
20s. And I don't think it's really just our age kids. It's like all the way down. Cause I remember my kids had iPads just so I had twins. So we could
Mhm.
go out to dinner like my husband and I would just put iPads in front of him just so we could eat
Yeah.
and talk,
Yeah.
So like we're constantly getting like bombarded with
Right.
EMF and radio frequencies and everything. Like, so I just think I just want to put it on everyone's radar. Like does this affect us? Because
Yeah.
you
A
read
thousand
something,
percent.
not known,
Yeah.
but there's tons of studies out
No,
there that say
yeah,
it is
medical
known.
studies, double-blinded medical studies, and
Yeah.
even like the government is taking it seriously. There are pilots in cockpits getting so confused. There's brain fog from all those EMFs that it's like downing planes, and they are launching a huge investigation right now, not because they really care about human life as much as their billions of dollars of aircrafts. In the Air Force, they estimated something like $30 billion of aircrafts every year are damaged because of pilot confusion, and they're trying to see are EMFs causing. So anyway, people are taking it seriously, but it's like hidden sort of,
Yeah.
because it's just everywhere. So if you think of it this way, the artificial man-made EMFs that we're introducing into our world that we cannot get away from are the polar opposite of the DC energy, the natural energy of the earth. They literally do the exact opposite things, and medical studies show this. So while grounding will decrease inflammation and decrease pain and boost fertility and boost the
Mhm.
circulation and be so heart healthy and brain healthy and relax your muscles, fake man-made EMFs do the exact opposite. They decrease fertility and they increase inflammation, they increase pain. You can get
Yep.
headaches from it, all this from prolonged exposure. So it's not like grounding negates it, but at least it helps balance it. It
Yeah.
doesn't all it doesn't make it that you're not having the EMF exposures, but it does help balance it because it's the exact opposite. It's at least you're infusing your body with the electrical environment that our body needs and craves to work.
Yep.
If you totally deprive yourself and are totally insulated, and then you're submerged in this disgusting world of pure EMFs, which we all are. I mean, I am, like you said, right now,
Yeah.
absolutely. In college, my kids, guaranteed they're walking around pissing me off right now with those earbuds in. Guaranteed, both of them. So it's, you can't not, but at least balance it. Be aware,
Yeah.
like the human body did not grow and evolve over whatever many years plugged into a light bulb. No, we evolved on the earth for the DC energy. And so all this fake artificial stuff really interferes with that. So if you can't remove all the EMFs, which we can't, unfortunately, then you at least should introduce grounding so that you feel a little bit better. There's a relief there.
Yeah. And, I mean, there's studies out there. I mean, anxiety, depression is rampant right now. And
Oh
so like,
yeah.
I asked my listeners if like you're suffering from anxiety, depression, chronic headaches,
Yeah.
immune system dysfunction,
Yeah.
maybe infertility, like you said, like
Yeah.
maybe just start here. And here's the thing I want to say, like, yes, number one, like put it on your radar. It might be from
Yeah.
excess EMF exposure.
Yeah.
But even when I talk about toxins, like I hate talking about them because they're such a Debbie Downer subject. Like
Yeah.
we're surrounded by them. We
Yeah.
can't live in bubbles, right? And
Yeah.
you and I are sitting here with on the
Yeah.
computer with our phones next to us.
And I just drank so much coffee, which it probably wasn't even
Yeah,
healthy.
but I
Yeah.
think our message is like number one, awareness is key, right? And number two, like where you can intervene and like, for instance, go out and start counteract some of those with grounding or
Mhm.
some of the indoor practices we talked about, or
Mhm.
some, I'm going to ask you next about some maybe key products because
Mhm.
like, for instance, sleeping with our phone next to our bed
Mhm.
on,
Yeah.
like, is there, and I feel like there's little things that we can do to intervene to decrease that
I
exposure
agree.
without completely taking
Right. I
all, you
agree.
can't, right? So
No,
like,
if
I
you
don't,
can think of one extra thing, it will make a difference. Like really.
correct.
So think about if you're like that frog that's boiling in a pot of water and it's, if you just turn it down by 10 degrees, then it wouldn't die. Like one little thing you can do will change your total body toxic burden exposure.
Correct.
So if you're only doing it by a tiny bit, it's helpful. The littlest thing is helpful. If you hear a list of 20 ideas and you only like one of them, do that one. It's helpful.
Correct.
It's in anything in medicine. If you'll just, because you give someone a diet but they can't, but if they could just do some of it, or if you exercise, but if you can just walk for 3 minutes, it's better than sitting sedentary for
Yeah.
8 hours. So it's like it doesn't have to be fire hosed, it could be the tiniest little bit. And the other good message in this is how resilient the human body is,
Yeah.
because we can live in the most toxic environment and totally disconnected from the earth, and we can still be alive. Our body is that resilient. So
Mhm.
I agree. A lot of my message could be considered Debbie Downer because there's this just toxic world we live in, but also, gosh, the fact that we're alive in it still, when we've made it such a
Yeah.
horrendously fake toxic environment, just shows how resilient the human body is, how we always come back to health, and we just need to like give it fumes almost, and we can come back to health. So
Yeah. And I don't think you're a Debbie Downer, by the way. Like, I think you're very educational, because I think the information you're putting out there is just giving people aha moments of how easy this can be, right? How little time consuming it is, and what a huge impact it can have on their overall health. And like you said, it's the total burden, whether that be from all the other toxins or just the EMF exposure. And again, we're not going to escape it. We're not going to be able to live in a bubble. So what can we do little by little inside and outside the house to get more bang for our
And if
buck?
someone just figures out what they resonate with most, because maybe talking about EMF, someone's just like, no, that just makes them anxious. They don't want to, well, then start filtering your water. You know what I mean? Like, take the lead and the fluoride and the toxins out of and chlorine out of your water, and just drink. That decreases your total toxic burden. So just what resonates with you? Does getting outside, getting fresh air resonate with you? Does eating more clean? I mean, pick one thing. So you can ignore the EMFs if you are addressing other things, because everything just goes into this whole cup container, which is your body. And there's a threshold where you're going to start getting pain and disease. So just keeping the threshold under. So,
maybe
so like, it's simple. Like you said, sleeping with the cell phone. Ideally you don't bring the cell phone next to your bed, but we're both moms. And like I said, my kids, like if they're traveling somewhere, I'm not turning my phone off. I want to make sure they got home safe. So I have my phone on, and I'm highly aware that that's going to interrupt my sleep. But you can do something simple as I have a bedside shield. That's just a little picture frame that I put a special shielding material in. And if you put your phone behind the bedside shield, I don't know if I'm modeling, I forgot that I was on video, but say that it's a picture frame that's slanted like this, and you're sleeping here, and you put your phone here, it's on. So this whole thing is still, it's still pulsing out, and it's still receiving signals, and you're still going to know when your kid makes it, to the concert or whatever. But this way, it's like a shadow. It's it blocks 99% of it coming through this way. So on this side, it's like you're standing in the shade of the sun. Like you're in the shaded spot. So it's not actually just going directly into your brain as it would if it was just sitting there with no shield. So as simple as that, if that's the only thing you do, you will notice that your sleep improves.
There's that. And then you also talk about, and this was for the teens as well, the little pouch. Do you have the pouch? Yeah. So
that's the only thing I was able to get my kids to do when they were teenagers. I couldn't get them to turn it off and it's psychological, because there's not that much difference between putting it on airplane mode or turning it off, and then, but they like the idea that it's on, and all I have to do is slip it out of this pouch, and then I can see it immediately. Like, I don't get it. All you have to do is hit airplane mode, but for some reason, so it's like you find what resonates with and what your kids are willing to do. My kids were willing to sleep with their cell phones on, but in the pouch. And so then that, same thing, instead of it just being behind a shield, it's blocking it every direction, which is great, because I found out my daughter was putting it under her pillow. She was sleeping with her cell phone under her pillow, like on, and you wonder why you're not sleeping well. At least put it in the stinking pouch. Okay. So
yeah. Well, I love that pouch idea. So kudos to you, because your products are definitely like amazing. Like I perused all of them. I'm like, okay, my wish list of what I want first. So I want the shield like that, because I'm the same. My kids are in my house, but like, I have elderly parents too. And like, you never know. Right. So I'm afraid to put it on do not disturb. I'm afraid to put it on airplane mode, and like, or like completely turn it off or put it in the other room, even though as a mama, I probably hear it because we have ears that can hear for miles. But I actually am like wondering, like, which one am I going to get? Because I definitely want to keep it nearby, but I don't want the effects of it. And I do want, to sleep even better. I sleep pretty well, but I want to sleep better. So and then, of course you have blankets and mats, and I was going to ask you, like, what are your 3 favorite products?
Oh, mine are super simple. I'll tell you the 3 I love that I'm using in my home right now. So my first favorite one is just an outlet timer, because did you know, and I didn't know this until really doing a deep dive into this over the past couple of years. Did you know that even if your like lamp is turned off, that it's still pulsing out with EMFs? Like, I thought when it turned off, it silenced it, but it doesn't. If you use an EMF meter, the cord, if it's plugged in, it's still active. It's waiting to be like the light bulb to be turned on, but the electrical activity is just sitting there the whole time coming through it. So so my favorite thing is an outlet timer. Basically anything electrical or anything plugged in that I can put on a timer, I will. So even my router downstairs, I don't need to have my Wi-Fi on while I'm trying to sleep from like 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. So I have it on an automatic timer, because if I have to go turn it off and then remember to turn it on, for some reason, that's too much. But if it's on an automated thing where I know every night at 11 o'clock, it switches itself off and it comes back on before I'm ready to, work in the morning, why do I need 8 hours of that pulsating at me? I don't. So
Yeah.
just the simplest thing, that outlet timer probably changed my life the most. So I have
But
lights on an outlet timer. I have my router on an
gotcha.
outlet timer. Yeah.
So
Anything that
the
your coffee
timer,
maker,
yeah, the timer. So if it's
you can
plugged
set
into an
whatever
outlet
hours.
timer,
Yeah.
it won't emit
And
any.
it's different than just being turned on and off. It's like it's unplugged.
Okay.
It's like it's unplugged. So and there's also outlet kill switches if you just want, like, so
Huh.
for your bedside lamp, you can plug it into an outlet kill switch and just click it off at the kill switch, and then it's like you unplugged it. I mean, if you want to like not buy any products, unplug it, unplug everything that's electrical next to your bed at night. But it's so much easier just to hit a switch. So like outlet
So
kill
cool.
switch and outlet timer, and then probably my bedside shield for the cell
Yeah.
phone, so I don't have to turn my phone off. And so all
Yeah.
three of those things are just tiny little changes that make a big difference.
I love it. And I know you go into great detail in your book, which we were just talking, like, is it Audible? It's definitely,
Yeah.
it's on Amazon, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's it
It's
called
on
again?
Amazon. It's called The Earth Prescription. And I don't know. I have hope because when I wrote it back, I wrote it in 2019 and it released in 2020. And that was right when the pandemic started. So my whole book tour was canceled. I was so anticlimactic because I had worked so hard on that and I was so excited and everything got canceled, which was fine. So then, but I was kind of down and I thought, and it's just, is grounding ever going to be a big movement? But it's now been translated into 4 different languages. So it's like
Wow.
I mean, it's not just here, like this word is spreading. I think
Yeah,
that people are
I'm
being
gonna
more
help
open
you.
to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you spread your
Thank
message because
you.
I'm a huge you're the real deal. I mean, like you are the
Yeah.
one who not only compares, you care about health, but like the environment, like you're
Yeah.
the full
Yeah.
package here.
Thank
So,
you.
um, and the other thing I love is you had one YouTube video. Again, I keep going on YouTube because I just totally binged and you're great on video. So if you want to learn from someone who's really dynamic on video, like not scripted, like, but really
Oh yeah,
well
definitely
spoken.
not
But
scripted.
I love it because you're not reading
Yeah.
from but you're well
Oh no.
spoken. I love when
Thank
you
you.
take your meter outside and you plug it into the
Yeah.
ground and you
Yeah.
test.
Yeah.
So you go through like, some things that outside you can do to
Yeah.
help ground and you show what is grounding and what's not.
It's
And
not. Yeah.
some things that are and some things that aren't, which I love.
Yeah.
And like you said, your TikTok, you said you're fairly new on TikTok, definitely
Yeah.
go check you out there because some people, again, attention span, they can only take this,
Yeah. 30
tiny little
seconds.
bit, 30
Yeah.
seconds, 15
Yeah.
seconds, 7 seconds now.
Yeah.
Like you may not get 7 seconds, but like, you can get pretty quick information and like that
Yeah.
one thing that you want to put on your radar today. Because
Yeah.
again, I don't know, probably the women and men you work with, like the women I work with, incredibly stressed.
Yeah.
And like you said, if we give them a laundry list of things to do, it's like they shut down.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
this. And again, I'm going to reiterate what you said earlier, the all or none phenomenon. Like we got to get out of that. Like do one thing, like whatever
Mhm.
resonated from this
Do
episode.
10% of that one thing. Don't even
Correct.
do the one thing. Like do the tiniest micro shade of that one thing, but it's something.
Exactly. Exactly. I call it micro shifts, like one little, like I
Yeah.
had the funniest thing, like I have a client right now, we're working on water. And it's like, how many of us, and this used to be me, like you go from drinking 1 bottle of water to drinking half your bottle weight or half your body weight. And I'm like, how do we do that? Like,
Mhm.
of course women shut down. So I'm like, how about going from 1 to 2 bottle?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it. Like
Absolutely.
once we get there and it feels comfortable, then maybe we'll go 2.5 or 3, maybe, like let's
Yeah.
just see. But like, I feel like we're all like from 0 to 100 and we don't even take into account how hard that is for them to even get 10, like you said.
Well,
Like
thank
it's
God
a
you're
huge
in medicine
accomplishment.
because yes, we need you because everybody goes to a doctor's office and when they walk out, do you know how many people like, they don't even remember one word,
Yep.
like because it was this prescription and this, and then do
Yep.
that. And then here's your diet. And then follow up with this person. And then this person will contact you. And then the pharmacy and then refill will be waiting. Blah, you walk out, thank God for someone who has a calm voice or reason who's like, let's think this week, we're going to just add an extra glass of water, like literally. And that is more important than the fire hose you just got if
Yeah.
you do nothing of it. So yeah, that's all.
That used to be me in private practice. They walk
Same.
out with their heads spinning,
Yeah.
right? Because we try
Yeah.
to educate them in the hour,
Yeah.
went through all their labs, like
Yeah.
a ton of supplements, and they come
Yeah.
back 3 or 6 months later and they didn't do any of it because it got so
Right.
overwhelmed, right? And they
Right.
didn't understand, even though you wrote it all out, they still didn't know what it meant.
Mm-mm.
Like, and
And
that's
I
when
feel like when I'm the patient, I do the same thing too. Like
Yeah.
I do the same thing too. Even if I'm the patient, I'm like, it's something about being in that role and you're already scared of your health and you already have a desired outcome and you're already frustrated and you've already
Yeah.
probably been failed by conventional medicine for so long that, yeah, it's too much. I have a story about when I decided to really, really leave conventional medicine. And it was because we had 15 minutes and I had a woman come in and I did a pelvic, GYN exam and I gave her a prescription for birth control pills and she walked out. And first of all, I was just, for some reason, and because I was a mom and I had a little baby girl at home and I thought, That is so weird. I literally just stuck a speculum at some girl. That's someone's baby. I don't know. It's just a weird interaction. If you're like an alien looking down, it's a weird thing to have someone walk in, you do that kind of exam, and then they walk out with a medication, but you don't, like, you're not friends. You don't really know. I don't know. It's a weird,
Yeah.
and then for some reason, I just started having this bad feeling. Like, I just had this feeling in my gut, and it might not be right, but I just really felt like she wasn't safe. I don't know. I had this bad feeling like, God, I didn't spend enough time with her. I should have asked her, why do you need this prescription? And are you safe in your relationship? And do you feel comfortable? I don't know.
Yeah.
I had such a knot in my stomach that honestly, I left that. I started working myself up over it. I probably thought about it too much, but I actually went in the bathroom and threw up
Oh
over
my
it. I was
God.
that upset. And I just decided I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm getting
Yeah.
sick, and I'll be lucky if insurance covered that stupid exam. You know what I mean? And the whole thing
Yeah.
isn't worth it. I don't feel like it did her any services. I had a really bad feeling, but after she left, if I had a feeling then I would have said something, but I didn't have time to do it. And then she left, and it just was gnawing at me, gnawing me and gnawing me. And I went in the bathroom and I just threw up over it. I was so upset over it. And I'm like, I don't want to practice medicine this way anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know where that story came from, but it's just this
Oh.
feeling of like, there's just something wrong with going into the doctor's office and just it being so rushed and so much information. And we don't even really know if it's helpful, because if that person walks out and they don't feel supported and they don't have one actionable plan, it's not helpful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not.
I walked away, I mean, I have my own personal health struggles, but I feel like we took an oath to do no harm. And I feel like
Mhm.
once you learn a different way, that's, in my opinion, not for everyone, obviously, like we need docs,
Oh yeah.
emergency room, we need
Right.
surgeon, like for
Yeah.
emergencies, but I feel like
Yes.
for
For
like the
trauma. Yeah. If
bread
you're
and
in a car
butter, like,
accident, you want to go get seen. My
correct.
appendix ruptured, for sure I wouldn't be here if there wasn't modern
Absolutely.
medicine, but is that really supporting the wellness? Not really. It's not a good
No, and I
long-term
feel like
plan.
we are more reactive in medicine, proactive. So when you learn a
Yeah.
better way, it's really hard to go back to that reactive,
Yeah.
where insurance is not approving a medication that is better for,
Right.
especially in
Yeah.
hormones
It's
when I go.
frustrating. Oh,
So, I personally too, like, had to walk away, and I'm like, I can't sleep at night knowing that I didn't do
right.
what I know is true in my heart to be the right things. And
Right.
just
And did
because,
you feel like, was it harder when she became a mom? Because that's what I felt
yeah.
like. I could have,
Mhm.
if I never became a mom, I probably could still be just doing it.
Yeah.
Something about just, it's more, everybody's more precious after that
Yeah.
somehow.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Um, Gosh, so we talked about your YouTube, your book. I mean, you've got a wealth of information out there. One last question, and then we're going to kind of circle it back to where everyone can find you and how you work with people. But what is one thing that you know now that you wish you knew 5, 10, 15, however many years you want to go back,
Yeah.
but something that, like, and again, it doesn't have to be medical, like something that
Yeah.
you were like, oh gosh, I wish I always knew this.
Well, we were just talking about being moms and how kids have profoundly changed our lives. And and you also mentioned this a little bit earlier in the interview, that I'm a recent empty nester. And so that's the one major transformation that I can speak on that I did not know even as of 2 years ago. I lived in this dreaded countdown of when my kids are going to be grown and leave. Like, I'm so attached to them. I love them so much. Like, not that I'm so special. Every mom feels that way, but I literally was pre-mourning them leaving. And yeah, of course, when they were teenagers, I was tired, and part of me was like, oh, I can't wait to get. But
Yeah.
for the most part, I'm so attached. I love you so much. I can't imagine you not even breathing under the roof of my house. I literally went to retreats, like grieving retreats. I was so anxious about them leaving. I just didn't. I love them so much. I just thought, who am I without them? And
Mhm.
I was just dreading it. And finally, I only have 2 kids, but my daughter's older, and she had left, and it wasn't so bad. But I thought, is that because I still have my son at home? I don't know. And he just left. He's a sophomore now in college. And man, I have never felt better. Why I worked that up to be the biggest thing. And I love them, and I feel just as close to them as ever. But gosh, I love being alone, and I didn't know, because how would you ever know? You go from, especially if you've gone through medical school and stuff. I mean, you don't have
Mhm.
any moment of your own, and then you become a
Mhm.
mom. You just don't have a moment. And this
Mhm.
past year, I finally have had a moment. I can be in a house alone, and oh my God, I feel like Laura. I
Mhm.
love it. I love it to the point where I have anxiety the other way. Like when they come home for Christmas break, like, I hope I can still be a really good mom, because right now I just love being alone. I love it. So
Yeah.
anyway, I wasted years of my life dreading them leaving, and I love them, but it wasn't bad. It
Well,
was
and how
actually kind
many
of good.
on that, how many moms feel guilty? Like, we're so
Yeah.
good at making ourselves feel guilty
Yeah.
and
Bad.
shameful, right? How many
Yeah.
feel guilty? Like we were saying before we started the interview, it was like my kids went home with their dad to our other house for Labor Day weekend and I stayed in our apartment. I'm like, no, go, please.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I
You
was
need
like, how many moms would be like, oh, I should be with them and
Yeah.
this and that, I only
Yeah.
have 3 more years with
Yeah,
them
yeah,
before they
yeah.
go
It's the
away. Right.
countdown, isn't it? It is.
It's
this
such a countdown.
And it's just this guilt thing. And God, I worked myself up into a froth for nothing.
I
It's
know.
delightful. It's literally delightful.
And then
Every
how many
day it's
moms feel
delightful.
guilty when they're like celebrating being alone? Like
Yeah.
probably a lot. Like, oh, I should be
Probably.
missing them. No, this
Yeah.
is you raise
Yeah.
great kids or off in
Ah.
college. They're not thinking of coming home and
No,
maybe
yes.
for some good food at Christmas
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
laundry, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, just think of it for them. Like they're having the
Yeah.
time of their life. Like, why should we
I
stay
don't
stuck?
know.
Right?
I don't
Enjoy.
know, but I just wish I had known not to beat myself up over it so much and just to enjoy. Yeah.
And fear of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
emptiness. Like,
Yes.
yeah, I have 2 at once leaving and I'm just
Yeah.
glad you spoke to this because I'm already nervous. I'm like, last night was a crazy day yesterday. And last night I'm like, oh, I just can't wait to get into bed. I'm like, oh wait, I gotta go to a soccer banquet. Why I should
Yeah.
cherish this moment and be present. And then part of me is like, I'm so tired.
So tired. I don't know now, like, and I haven't been that far removed. Like you said, we're in basically the same stage of life, but just even like a couple months later, looking back I don't know how you are doing it right now. I know that I could not go back to that. I couldn't go back to it.
Yeah.
Like you just
Yeah.
survived the finish line and then you don't want to go back.
I white knuckled it through yesterday.
Yeah.
And then today I'm just like,
Yeah.
I just need to be and like connect with you and just
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
But this has been great, so let's see, where do you like to hang out most? Like, where can my listeners find you?
I mean, for now, right now, well, my favorite thing is my website is sign up for my newsletter because I put out a
Mhm.
weekly newsletter. And that is like where every week, my goal when I look through the medical literature is to find something that is just unusual or holistic or that you're not going to hear from your conventional physician and blog about that. So probably my newsletter is my favorite, like mainstay, but also I really like TikTok. So my TikToks are not funny. Like I'm not dancing, but,
That's
but
okay.
it's just a snippet. It's a snippet
Yeah.
of, hey, do this today. Or, hey, did you know that? Or I'll talk about a medical study sometimes or a grounding
No, but
tip here
even
and
from
there.
your YouTubes, I love how you like are so what I love. I mean, I love everything about you, but like you took your phone out and you're like trying to record and try to use the meter and try to get on the
bad.
ground. And
Because girl, I don't even watch them basically because if I do,
good.
I don't want to redo it. I don't know who has
No.
the energy and time. So it's going to have to be kind of just like that. It's just
And
going to have to
I
be.
love, and it's like, they're very well watched and responded to. So you're obviously touching a lot of people's lives and the comments are just like, they just love you for you and being authentic and organic and original and like just not being about perfect, just trying to get the information out there.
Yeah.
So.
Not about perfect, but thank you.
Well, and I love that about you. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do as well. It's like, let's just get the
No,
information.
you're
out
the
there.
best. You're even more ballsy than me. If I could dance, oh my gosh, I love your videos. You'll dance in them. Oh, it's so good. It brings a smile.
We'll
It's good.
collaborate and do
I don't
one.
know if I'll get to that point, but if I can, I would. Yeah.
No, do
Yours
you
are
still
awesome.
work with patients or clients, or do you? I saw
No,
online.
it's been a long
correct?
transition. Yeah. At this point now, I'm starting to do mostly like group classes, so I can reach more. Like I don't do one-on-one anymore. So I do a lot of online health classes and things like that, and speaking and writing and stuff like that. So yeah, probably not so much the one-on-one stuff.
Yeah. Well, at this point, how many we need it. I feel the need to impact a lot more people than just
it was.
right?
I wrote the book and then the pandemic, and I was like, I'm doing online classes then. That's what I'm doing. I don't have any desire to switch it up now to go back.
No.
Yeah,
and you're
none.
impacting so many people's lives. And if someone could just take one thing away from this episode, and just come back in a year and listen again, maybe take something else, it just is so impactful. So I'm so happy I found you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's awesome.
And and we'll put all of your links in the show notes and make sure everyone can find you, and definitely go get your book and go visit your website. Where can they find the products?
So my website is intuition-physician.com, intuitionphysician.com.
Yep. And your Shopify has like all of them listed and they're awesome. Like go make your Christmas list now for yourself and your teens and start shopping. So
awesome.
That was awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time and chatting today.
Oh yeah, you're awesome. You're very easy to talk to. I appreciate it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Real Heal and that you learned something new. And before you go, can you do me a quick favor? Take a screenshot right now and share it to Instagram and tag me so I can celebrate you for taking action and improving your health. And if you're enjoying this podcast, please take a minute to leave me a rating and a quick review. This will help others just like you find the show. And do not forget to subscribe because you will not want to miss out on any of the amazing guest experts that I have coming up very soon. And remember, it's not selfish to take care of yourself. Do one thing today that makes you happy and learn to love life again. And with that, I'm out of here. Talk to you again soon.